The United Confederate Veterans began in 1889 and grew in popularity following the death and burial of former Confederate President Jefferson Davis a few months later. Camps formed across the South, and annual reunions allowed for Confederate veterans to renew friendships and honor the war dead. In 1893, veterans in San Saba County organized the William P. Rogers Camp No. 322 of the UCV. A hero of the Battle of Corinth, Colonel William P. Rogers was a native of Georgia and never lived in San Saba County, but his daughter Fanny Alabama married one of his officers, George Harris, in 1863. The Harrises moved to San Saba in 1880 and were the driving forces behind the organization of this camp. A former county judge, George Harris, was elected first commander of the William P. Rogers Camp. Members who included farmers, state legislators, city and county officials, and local businessmen held their camp meetings at the San Saba County Courthouse. In April 1900, the United Daughters of the Confederacy, then called the National Association of the Daughters of the Confederacy, organized the George Washington Lafayette Fly Chapter No. 377 in San Saba. Together, the two groups developed educational programs for the local schools and supported placement of monument to Confederate heroes across the South. In particular, the UDC chapter worked to erect a monument to honor Colonel Rogers at Corinth, Mississippi. The camp continued to meet until the early 1930s, when the declining number of veterans resulted in its demise.
Here's what the plaque doesn't tell you. October 4th, 1862, Second Battle of Corinth, Mississippi. Rogers led his 2nd Infantry in a charge against a fortified Union position called Battery Robinette. He reached the ditch at the base of the earthworks, planted the regiment colors, and was struck by multiple rifle shots. He died at the wall. He was 42. What followed is the part the plaque doesn't mention. Union General William was so struck by Rogers' courage that he ordered him buried with full military honors. A cemetery reserved for general officers. Rogers was buried where he fell, in the ditch of Battery Robinette, by the men who had killed him. A Georgia-born lawyer who had never lived in San Saba County was remembered there because his daughter wouldn't let his name fade, and the Union Army helped her keep it alive. Another piece of forgotten Texas.